Gonna be super real today. Quit progesterone a month and a half ago, and today, in the last few days, not feeling that great. I have my adrenal surges are ridiculous. The aggression that you feel inside is off the charts. It is extremely difficult to control. I'm controlling it for the most part, but it just surges and makes you feel so incredibly uncomfortable. The physical sensations when the adrenals take a surge is like an electrical current going up your rib cage and underneath your breastbone, and it's followed by an extremely severe hot flash that's hard to get it to go away. I try to take a lot of deep breaths and keep myself calm, but in order to do that, I have to stay isolated and stay in my house, which is something that I do not want to do. Driving is probably the most difficult thing because when you're driving, there's so many people involved doing stupid things or just regular things that can make you surge because either they aggravated you and you have an unnatural response to that, or you're driving and a car comes up and just startles you just a tiny bit, and it causes this huge reaction within my body. Like I said, the electrical current going up my rib cage, under my breastbone, and then the severe hot flash. It makes me not want to drive. It is that uncomfortable. The flip side is you stay home and, you're exhausted. Why? You're not sleeping very well. You are cold. So I want to be under the blanket. I live in Florida. It's like 80 something degrees and I'm in sweatpants and a sweatshirt. So you go from having the chills, which aren't like what you think chills are. It's more of from what I've read, I think it's like when you withdraw from drugs, I don't even know how to explain it. It's like a cold, prickly, cold feeling that just travels up your body slowly, like if you have goosebumps. That's what it's more like. It's more like having goosebumps, and that too is really uncomfortable. It's not like getting the quick, ooh, I have the shivers. It's a goosebumpy feeling that is kind of electrical at the same time. So being under a blanket is the most comfortable for that. I sit here and tell myself I need to get up and do paperwork or do laundry, function, do something. But the imbalance that you have, the depletion of the progesterone right now, I don't know if it's going to get better, but right now is almost debilitating. As much as I want to get up and do something, you go and start doing it and you get the electrical current, the surge, or you become completely exhausted and it, makes you want to go to sleep. So you do. I'm sleeping way more than I normally do. The other thing that I've noticed is the minute my blood sugar drops, it is a do or die situation. I could literally go off the deep end until I get some food. So having a conversation with me or a conflict with me when I'm hungry is magnified 100%. You know how people say they get hangry? Well, this is a ridiculous hangry response because not only are you a little hangry, but you have an abnormal adrenaline rush that comes along with any type of minor conflict. And again, that is extremely uncomfortable. So I'll keep everybody posted. The reason I'm doing this is because I went online last night for hours trying to figure out if there's anybody else that has experienced this, has gotten off of bio-identical progesterone and had such severe reactions, because I wanted to know, how long is this going to last? Can I just ride this out? Is it going to be a month, 2 months? What? Do I need to go back on progesterone? Do I need to find somebody that can help me? By the way, getting into an endocrinologist is like an act of God here. It's ridiculous. You have to have a referral. You have to have all these tests done. Nobody wants to see you. I'm so in tune with my body. I know what's going on. I know that I have a major adrenal issue and want to have this rectified. And I will. It's just a matter of getting into someone. But anyway, I was saying that I went online last night and probably spent a good couple of hours on Google searches, and then I went on YouTube. And of course, there's nothing. Now, there's people that are transgender that are taking progesterone, which is not what I'm doing, so that was not helpful. But there's nobody out there that I could find that is helping women who may be suffering silently. You know, I spent so many years when I was taking the progesterone, isolated, alone, feeling, having all the symptoms that I was having, that I explained earlier. And, you feel so alone. You feel like there's nobody else that can understand what you're going through, or maybe you're the only one that's out there. My typical day, this is what it would be. I would struggle to get out of bed, get my kids ready for school. I love playing tennis. That's my social thing. That's what I do for me. That's the only thing I do for me. So I would, go to tennis unless I was really struggling, and then I would come up with some reason that I couldn't, and they'd have to find a sub for me. But I would go to tennis, and within the first 15 minutes, my heart would start racing. I would start sweating profusely, sweat running down my legs. My clothes would be soaking all the way to my underwear and my sports bra. I would be out of breath. I could hardly even move to go get the ball, fighting through it the whole time. And in the beginning, I would be looking at these women that I'm playing against. They're like 60 years old, some of them. And they're not breathing heavy. They're not out of breath. They're not oversweating. So why is it me at my age? I was probably 48 at the time, going to be 56. So, for about the last 8 years, having this start and just get progressively worse. It got to the point where I was doing everything, people. I was going to the doctors. They were prescribing me all kinds of crazy stuff. Man, I've been on everything. I've been on antidepressants. I've been on Xanax. I've been told, oh, maybe you have ADHD. Let's give you Adderall. My goodness. I see why people get addicted to Adderall. That's crazy stuff. It's bad. It's bad. I don't recommend that. Anyway, so I was telling you about my day. So I would play tennis, like I said, completely exhausted, finish my match, drag myself home, get in the shower, eat something if I had the energy to, and I would literally fall in bed until it was time to get my kids from the bus stop. I'd get up, get my kids from the bus stop, do just the minimal of what I needed to do for them, and then if I could, go back to bed. And then I'd get up before my husband would get home from work and act like I've been doing stuff all day, which clearly I hadn't. There's still laundry. There's still dishes in the sink. Dinner hardly made. And, try to be normal. And then I would go to bed early. So it progressed and got so bad that what else did I do? I went to doctors to check out my lungs. Perfectly fine. Did every test in the book. No problems. So why am I not breathing? Okay, so let's now go to a cardiologist. Maybe it's your heart. I do have mitral valve prolapse. No big deal. Went through every single test there is for the heart. Perfectly fine. Mitral valve, it's okay. No big deal. Shouldn't be causing all these issues. And I was having severe chest pains after activity too. It was like an elephant had sat on my chest, and I could actually feel my lungs and my heart hurt from breathing heavy. trying to run around and just being so incredibly exhausted. It was ridiculous. I had times where I was so exhausted after tennis, my husband would have to leave work and come home to get me something to drink or get me food because I could not physically get out of bed. I couldn't do it. It wasn't that I was just tired. I could not get my body to get me up and to move. It wasn't going to work. I Google searched all kinds of things, trying to find out what was wrong with me because the doctors that I had been to said, just go home and relax. Reduce your stress, which I did, by the way, because I believed that in the beginning. I believed it was anxiety disorder, right? So I reduced my stress. I started eating really clean, really healthy, cut out the sugar as much as I could. Yes, I cheated like everybody does. Nothing was getting better. Google searched, what do you take for anxiety and depression? Okay, if all these doctors are telling me my body is perfectly fine, then it's got to be something I'm doing, right? And I'm also thinking that I have dehydration issues, which, by the way, was incorrect. Because if you're dehydrated, you're not going to sweat as much as I'm sweating. And I was sweating an enormous amount. So, I forgot where I was. My daughter's going to edit this, so it won't be so ridiculous. Oh, yeah. So my husband would have to come home and take care of me, basically. Google searched what natural supplements can I take for anxiety and depression? Got on all of them. And yeah, they helped. So they were countering my daily moods, my daily, happiness, energy level, which was great. However, I couldn't do anything. I couldn't play tennis, which I love to do. I really couldn't work in the yard because the minute I would start sweating, I'd go out and, I live in Florida, like I said, and it gets really hot here in the summer. So the minute I would start sweating, I would start to feel exhausted and I would need to go in and I would need to lay down. About a month and a half ago, it got so bad. This is what I did. First of all, I was playing tennis now 1 day a week. I went from 5 days to 1 day. And that was because I had a commitment to a tennis team and I wanted to ride out the year. So I was playing 1 day a week of tennis. It was all I could handle. I thought, okay, I'm going to start walking. I need to exercise. I've gained, 10 to 15 pounds. I need to do something. I can't just sit here and do nothing all day. I'm doing paperwork and stuff around the house, but there's got to be more. So I walked 2.8 miles. 2.8 miles. Yes, sweating profusely. Not over-breathing too much, but much more than the woman I was walking with. Came home, took a shower, passed out cold for 3 hours, completely exhausted, could not function in those 3 hours whatsoever. Dragged my butt out of bed, took care of my daughter, took her to dance, whatever I needed to do for that evening. Oh, and the other thing is if I could make it past 8:30 or 9 o'clock, it was a miracle. I could not stay awake. It didn't matter how much sleep I got the night before. If I napped all day, there was no staying up. And the sensitivity to sound when I would get tired, I can't even describe either. That was off the charts. Could not have the radio on, had to have the TV turned down, didn't want anybody to talk close to my ear. If my husband hugged me and was just talking quiet to me, I couldn't handle it. It was painful. It was painful. So anyway, walked 2.8 miles. Then later that weekend, I decided to just mow part of my yard. I take my dogs out back. They got to have a place to poop. I want to see it because I pick it up. Mowed that little section out there 20 minutes, came in, was supposed to go out to dinner, told my husband, I can't go out to dinner. I need to lay down. I am completely exhausted. Went to bed. It was probably like 7 or 7:30. I was done for the night. That was it. So coincidentally, it was a Wednesday. I ran out of my progesterone, which when I first started taking it was a lifesaver. I could sleep. The hot flashes were decreased quite a bit. I felt balanced emotionally, and I had a little more energy. Although, like I said before, as time went on, it wasn't necessarily footing the bill, and I had to add supplements and stuff to it to help with energy and mood and that type of thing. So, ran out. Pharmacy called, said it was ready on a Friday. Had to take my daughter out of town. Prior to this, I had really been praying to the Lord. Yes, I'm a Christian. I rely on God's help a lot. And I had been praying, to please heal me, that, it was just getting so bad that my quality of life was dwindling. So the Friday came and I really wanted to go pick up my prescription, but it was in the opposite direction. I had a 2-hour drive to take my daughter to dance competition, and which I was dreading because, as I told you earlier, the driving had gotten really, really bad. It was the electrical currents up my ribs, and the nervousness when I'm driving was really, really, really getting difficult. And I was close to not even wanting to drive anymore. Anyway, decided for some reason not to get my progesterone, and just told myself, you're probably not going to sleep. You might be a little edgy, but whatever. You just make it through the weekend. I'll pick it up on Monday. Drove all the way to Lakeland. Totally fine. No driving issues. Completely relaxed. It was great. So that was 2 days without progesterone. So by Saturday, I am still really calm, feeling great, tons of energy. Google searched too much progesterone. They call it progesterone overdose. Every single symptom they listed, from the muscle aches, muscle weakness, joint pain, shortness of breath, nervousness, all of it, I had. Every single thing. And I'm thinking, I had mentioned these to my doctors. How come nobody correlated progesterone and my symptoms? They didn't. So, cold turkey. Been off progesterone for a month and a half. The first few weeks were the best of my life. I felt so good. I had energy. I had a desire to do all kinds of things. I was functioning at my highest. My house was clean. I was cooking dinner. I was going to the grocery store. I was doing my paperwork. I was planning for the future of things I wanted to do with our business. Getting along with everybody. It was great. About 4 weeks in, started getting agitated. Still having just slight electrical things happening. Maybe went from constantly throughout the day, a couple several in an hour actually, probably 4 in an hour, to maybe 4 a day. I should count them one of these days, maybe 6 in the day, which is doable. But the shivers, goosebumps, chills, whatever you want to call them that I get, the feeling lethargic, no energy, not wanting to do anything that's going to increase my adrenaline, which could mean, doing paperwork. What are you doing? You're dealing with bills. You've got to call insurance companies. You've got to do different things. You have to function. But all of those things, require you to just be normal and calm, not crazy, and adrenaline pumping like crazy through your body. So here I sit. And that's why I went online last night to try and see if anybody else has had these severe reactions to A, taking progesterone, and B, progesterone withdrawal. So hopefully today I'm going to do something and not just waste another day of my life, and keep you posted. Have a great day. If you're out there dealing with this, know that you're not alone. There's someone over here in Florida that's doing the same thing and fighting the same battle. But I know I'm a strong woman. I've been through much in my life. Maybe I'll share one day. And so I know I'm incredibly emotionally strong, and I will conquer this and get through it, just not having a good time.